This video is sponsored by Grammarly. So look at the 11 Pro. It's got a great camera, it's got a really good screen, a super fast processor. It's obviously still a really good buy. Slow your roll a second. The iPhone 12 is coming. You know it's gonna be better. The iPhone 11 Pro at this point, it's old and busted. Let's slow down the anger a bit there. The iPhone 11 Pro is still a really good phone, and if you want to get one now, just go to Apple's website, open the app, order one. You're not going to be disappointed. Come on, dude. There should be a warning on the Apple website right now. It says, "Warning, do not buy, new phone coming." A little dramatic, bro. Slow it down. We're still months away from the new iPhone coming. How many times I gotta say it? It's still a great phone and still a good buy, even now. Listen, you do you, but don't say I didn't warn you. So admittedly, I've got more time on my hands to play around with intros than perhaps I've had before. But the serious point of that was I do want to look back now at the iPhone 11 Pro after it's been out for about 9 months and give my final review. So my perspective on the iPhone, I think, has changed a bit. I sort of made a pledge I would spend 6 months with Android and 6 months with Apple and sort of continue that throughout the years. My 6 months with Android ended at the start of June, and I've come back to what I was using before the iPhone 11 Pro Max. So looking at it with fresh eyes, see the software updates that have happened in the meantime, and revisit the iPhone 11 Pro line, things definitely changed since the initial review. So regardless of how you feel about Apple, they've always done hardware well. And the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max are no exception. And I haven't really babied it. It's been dropped, it's fallen off couches, it's fallen off tables, and for the most part, it has held up very well. I've got some dings and scratches on the back, but the screen, I think the most important one, has not been scratched, and the glass over the cameras still looks pristine. One thing that is different, and I think has changed over the past 9 months, is a conversation about the screen. When the phone launched last September, I think I said that the screen was amongst the best screens on the market. And since that time, we've seen S20s and OnePlus 8s with higher refresh rates and more resolution. And I don't necessarily subscribe to the more resolution, the better, but the higher refresh rate part is something that I really miss on the iPhone. But that aside, its color reproduction I think is really good. Obviously its black levels, because it's OLED, are amazing. The calibration I think is really good. It's not too punchy or poppy, but it does show colors very well. And perhaps most importantly, it doesn't appear to be a huge battery hog when using the phones. So in this review, I talked about the A13, and when you talk about processors in initial reviews, you haven't had a chance to really use it. Developers haven't had a chance to sort of push the processor to what it can do. In 9 months, my opinions are still relatively the same. There is a ton of headroom with the A13, much like there was with the A12 and 11 before it. I'm sure there'll be the same thing with the A14. Apple's processors are incredibly powerful. There's not been a single time using this phone that I've wanted or wished that I had more power. And battery is still really good on the 11 Pro and the Pro Max. And most of my time was spent with the Pro Max. But for me, it's a day and a half phone. And my very minimal barrier to entry has let me get through a day. With the 11 Pro Max, I can very easily get through a day and a half. But if I pushed it and tweaked settings, I could probably even get to 2 days. So when iOS 13 came out, it's an incremental update. And it was plagued with launch issues. You had some weird camera issues when you tried to launch it. There's a bug where you turned your phone off, you couldn't turn it back on again. That's one that I experienced and has still not been fixed on my phone. That's been annoying, but those software bugs that we saw initially, most of them at least, have been fixed. I think what it boils down to with iOS 13 is things you'd expect. The bugs have gotten refined without really introducing that many more, and it's just gotten better. Although I wish I could confidently turn my phone off and turn it back on again without crossing my fingers that it was going to work. So I'll take a quick second to thank this video's sponsor, Grammarly. I actually reached out to Grammarly to sponsor this and a few other videos. You might not know this about me, but I am a horrendous typist. Anybody who I work with can attest for, they have to oftentimes decipher my gibberish. So I've relied on Grammarly for years in anything that I am typing in online, whether it's messaging or email. So there's a free version of Grammarly, which I think everybody should absolutely try. It'll give you spelling and grammar suggestions. And you might not think it's something you're going to use, but I guarantee you will start looking for that little red underline. And before you send out that important email, you'll appreciate that somebody's got your back. And as you get more used to it, you're probably gonna wanna unlock some of the premium features that Grammarly can give you, and they are really useful. And I think for me, Grammarly has just grown from being a platform that corrected my spelling, gave me better grammar, to being a really invaluable tool for my digital communication. Things like clarity suggestions, vocab suggestions, formatting suggestions, and a ton more. So I personally love the conciseness suggestions from the premium version. As you can guess, I tend to go a little overboard when writing out my notes and sometimes scripts, and this just helps keep things brief and keeps me on point. I mean, it works everywhere. I use it the most in the browser for a Chrome extension, but there are desktop apps, even mobile apps, kind of anywhere you type, Grammarly can work well. So give Grammarly a shot, try it, and I think you'll find it as invaluable as I have. You can link to it down below, but go to grammarly.com/John, download it for yourself, and if you decide you want to go for the premium option, that link will also give you 20% off. I don't think it's a stretch to say the upgrade in cameras on the 11 Pro line is the biggest camera upgrade that Apple has ever had when it comes to phones. You've got 3 lenses, you've got 4K 60 for video, you've got the inclusion of night mode, smart HDR. There were a lot of improvements inside of the camera. I think it boils down to any shot you take on the iPhone is some version of good, and it might not be the best shot you can get on any phone, but any shot you take is going to be amongst the best on any phone. I've also really liked having the variants of cameras. Back when I could go outside and go to my kids' soccer and baseball games, I loved having the zoom in there. And I still wish there was more optical than just 2x. I don't use the ultra wide as much as I would thought I would. The general wide is what I'm shooting everything with. But having the flexibility of all those camera systems has been really welcome. I haven't used night mode as much as I thought I was going to use it. I was really excited about it when the phone first came out, and generally I've taken maybe 6 or 7 night mode shots since then. And I think it boils down to when I pick up the iPhone, I know what photo I'm going to get is going to be good. And that's translated over to video as well. I don't think it's a stretch to say that the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max shoot the best video of any phone out. And the current flock of Android, the ones that are powered by the 865, are getting really, really, really close. But I'll still pick the iPhone when it comes to video. It was my daughter's first birthday a few days ago, and my dad was shooting pictures with my 11 Pro Max and shooting some video of us singing happy birthday. And it was really bright outside, and the iPhone did an amazing job compensating for that. It was those little things like that where I appreciate what the iPhone can do when it comes to video.
3, 2, 1.
So the value of the iPhone 11 Pro line is a question only you can answer. Is a phone worth $1,000? Probably not, but people are certainly willing to spend it. And now 9 months into the life cycle of the iPhone 11 Pro, if you've waited this long, I think now is a very bad time to buy an iPhone 11 Pro, assuming your current phone is already working. At the very least, wait to see what the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro line will do. And if those phones are not for you, discounts tend to come on the iPhone 11, iPhone 11 Pro. Apple has sometimes kept the previous generation around at discounts. And 3 months from now, you might be able to get a $1,000 phone for $800 or $700 brand new. And I think that potential discount is worth the 3-ish months wait to at least see what comes next and decide if the iPhone 11 is still going to be the right phone for you. And it should get most of the iOS 14 features. It's not going to have things that 12 is going to have, like LiDAR or a new design or even a blue color and a higher refresh screen, but it still will do a lot of things really well. It's not going to change the camera system that's already awesome. You just might miss out on some of the new features. But if you can get all the things that are still new right now in a few months for a discount, that's at least worth waiting to see. So looking back on a final review with the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max, I've enjoyed using the phone, and obviously it's the fastest, most capable iPhone. I don't think it's my favorite iPhone I've ever used. I think that's still reserved for the iPhone 6 Plus. I loved the first big size iPhone, but it's still a very good iPhone. It does everything that Apple claimed it was going to do and a lot more. And I wish it would get better. I wish a lot of those things in the software side would change and iOS would open up a bit more and give me more flexibility, and Siri would improve, and I think eventually we will get there. But if you do decide that you want to get a phone now, you want to get a phone that's going to give you really good optics, a solid screen, decent battery life, and be compatible with mostly everything, the iPhone 11 Pro is still an awesome way to go.